Hi, welcome to Tuesday Night Sprints. I actually said it right this time. Just to keep everyone on their toes, and because I have some extra StreamYard hours, I thought that we'd come on tonight, and I really need to do some writing. So Sharon and Kirsty kindly agreed to jump on with me at last minute. It's nice to have friends you can rely on, isn't it, to come on for a chat and a read and a write. So I'm going to be working on Mina and the Cult tonight because my deadline is looming, and I'm going to Disney middle of next month, and I told myself that I would try and get the draft done before I go. So like the clock's ticking down now. I really need to. I think once I don't know about you, Kirsty, but once I've written a draft, I feel better. Like I feel like it's going to be a thing. At the minute, it's like this kind of entity that doesn't exist yet. What are you like? Do you enjoy the writing or the editing?
I enjoy the writing. So when I've got the draft, that's when I go, now what do I do? Now what? Yeah. Do I just play with sentences here or there, or do I chuck it all up in the air and start again, or what
all of it? All of it, I think. I'm going through an edit at the minute just because I realised the ending that I want to write doesn't match up with what I've written, so I'm just trying to make it. It's like a jigsaw at the minute, and half the piece are missing. So
yeah, I think I need to edit the beginning a little bit more because I discussed with my editor kind of making some changes to increase the connection with the protagonist. So
what are you writing, Kirsty? Sorry, I've missed that. What are you writing?
So I am doing a course with the Golden Egg Academy, and they're it's run by professional editors, and I'm writing a vampire story, funnily enough. It started as a kind of gender swap Lost Boys, which I know there has just been one published, which is very frustrating. But it's also kind of focusing on ADHD and undiagnosed ADHD, and vampire blood might help with that and stuff like that. So yeah.
I think it will become your own thing. I think it's happened to all. It's happened to all of us. Like I think I've told you before that I got my agent the day that Renee Ardu announced that she was going to bring vampires back to YA in New Orleans, and I was like, oh, okay. My book hasn't even got a publisher yet, and I feel like I've already been pitched the post, but it ends up being a totally different book. So
yeah,
and I know people at the minute who are working on similar projects to what I'm working on, and I think sometimes you just got to kind of trust that what you're doing is good and is you, and like you've already said, it's got your spin on it. So
yeah, and I've read in Nightfall recently, and kind of reassured myself that it was different enough that it's okay.
Yeah, I did the same.
Cults are always in fashion, Amy.
Well,
everybody loves a cult.
This is it, and the same with vampires. I'm not the first person to write about vampires in New Orleans. You know, you're not the first person to write about vampires with a Lost Boys feel. But we all do it in our own way. Like I bet when you're reading Sharon, like you start to see threads, don't you, between books? But you tend to pick them up because of those threads. Like the amount of people, I was a bit worried that V. Schwab's latest book was set in New Orleans as well. But the amount of people that photographed them together, and said that they want to read more New Orleans books, so they pick mine up.
It's synchronicity, isn't it? It's like it's like somebody invents something, and then there's loads of people invent it at the same time, and it's kind of in the ether, isn't it, a little bit? And so you get lots of books on the same themes, and I love that. I love that because I love to see how different brains work different things out.
Yeah, Kim Curran, who's a brilliant YA author who wrote Slay, which is about like a demon slaying boy band, is amazing. I met her at an event once, and she said that she read a really interesting book that said ideas are literally just like almost like floating around us. And they're just available for anybody to grab, and you might grab one first, somebody else might grab the same one as you. And it can be to do with like culture and news and things that are going on. Like I think the pandemic has influenced loads of people even that don't realise they have in literature. Whether it's
so many plague stories.
Yeah. I mean, I'm seeing something. I'll come to my fan of my computer just slid down and bashed me. So I don't know. I think similar books, it's always going to be a thing. And I think when you're creating, you're always going to see that thing that's like yours as well. And other people wouldn't necessarily care or make the connection. Let's see who is in the comments tonight. Hi, Stephen.
Hi, Stephen.
Did. We went to Telford Comic Con for the first time. and I met the girls from Charmed.
Oh
And
yes, how did Nathan get
it was so
on?
good. It was so good. I need to post the pictures. It was so busy, really chaotic, where the queues were all running like an hour over when they were supposed to be. I'd got a 3-year-old who spent a good portion of it running around or screaming or laughing or all of the above. So yeah, it wasn't as fun for him. Some conventions are really nice for kids. That one didn't have, like, they have Lego and stuff at some of the London ones. Didn't really have anything this one. But yeah, I got to meet, and Jared Padalecki was so gorgeous and so lovely. Who else did I meet? I'm looking at Kev. Oh, and Kev got to meet Kristen Croik from Smallville, who I'd say he's had a crush on for 20 years.
My husband does too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she is beautiful. Like, we watched her do a talk and we were just staring at her. Like, she's really poised and, you know, physically beautiful, but just really intelligent and interesting, and kind of didn't realize what she got into when she was really young when she got cast in Smallville, and she was just talking about like fame from an early age and stuff. It was, yeah, really good. And then he got a picture with her, and then we went to a theme park on Sunday. So that was more my toddler speed, bombing around on rides and getting wet and stuff like that. So yeah, good fun.
I remember those days.
Yeah, exactly. I still enjoy it, to be fair. Hi, Ashley. Yes. Yeah. Completely
thank you,
agree.
Caroline.
I agree. Yeah.
I kind of forget that, because I'm like, vampire books. So I want to read 20 vampire books after I've read one. So yeah.
Yeah, but I think it just, when it's yours and you know you've put so much time and thought and effort into it, it kind of hurts when you see, especially somebody being successful with it. You're like, oh, that could have been me, but it could, you know, it could be you next. And if it's like with me, it wasn't necessarily the book I thought was going to get published first, but I'm glad it did, because if another one had got published, I could have gone off in a whole different direction that I wasn't as passionate about. So let's get to write about vampires forever now if I want. So it's good. All good. Yeah, exactly. Hi, Nicole.
Hello.
So, Kirsty, are you working on the vampire book tonight?
I am. Yeah.
Excellent. And hopefully, I think, do you find that when you get into a good habit of writing, that if you start doing it like every day or nearly every day, you feel in a bit more of a groove with it? Because that's where I am, I think.
Yes, but I'm still to get there. I think I've just had so much on with work and stuff at the moment, and obviously having slightly limited energy with long COVID and stuff. It's can be a bit of a challenge, but I've just been on an Overcoming Writers Resistance boot camp, and that's what kind of said. I messaged you and went, I'm going to come and write tonight, because I feel like
good.
They make you write lines like boot camp. I'm imagining they make you write lines.
They did make us free write, but I don't think I did it right, because I ended up just like telling myself off in the free write. But we've got to practice radical self-compassion, so that's what I'm going to do now.
That sounds good. And maybe small chunks, if it helps the writing habit for you. Like, I find 1,000 words a day really good for me, but it could be like 100 words a day, or 10 minutes a day, or something, like whatever feels like a manageable chunk of something that you can.
Definitely.
And the closer I get to deadlines, the more I stretch them, like 1,000 turns into 1,100
words in one day.
Yeah.
I just saw Victoria Aveyard met her deadline by writing 10,000 words in the last day.
See, my problem is, I don't think I could do that. I think the most I wrote in a day once, I wrote 8,000 words and completely burned out and couldn't write anything for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I don't recommend doing that. And I just don't physically have the time. Like, I don't think I have a day. Like, I don't think I could say to Nathan or Kev, like, 12 hours, I'm just not going to speak to either of you. Like, it's not going to happen, is it? Like, I don't think either of them would tolerate that. So okay, 2 of us out of the 3 are writing vampire books. I feel like, Sharon, you need to write a vampire book now or something to not let the side down.
I think I probably write 8,000 words a day, but they tend to be emails. You know what I mean? So it's a different thing. So tonight, there's a couple of things I'm reading, actually. I've just got an arc I want to read, which is called Girls of Little Hope.
Oh, that sounds cute.
It's a horror.
I was going to say, it sounds cute.
It's a horror about this, and it's an adult horror about 3 teenagers who go into the woods and only 2 come back out. So it's supposed to be quite horrific. It's an adult one, so it'll be So I'm reading. I think it's Titan. I think. Yeah,
I thought that was going to be like a soft, gentle kind of, girls. Oh,
well,
maybe I'll get some hope.
Stories. I thought, that's not for me, because it's got like a milk. You know, the milk The milk containers they have in America where they put the
Mm.
missing kids on. I thought, oh, it's going to be sappy. And then I read the synopsis and I went, oh, that's a bit of me. So yeah, I've got so I'm going to read that. I'm also I've got to catch up on the YA book
Yay.
club, and I'm going to show you my bookmark.
Oh, love
That's
it.
very cool. In fact, I'm going to have to show you my bookmark. Let me see. Oh no, I've taken it upstairs. I'm going to have to
I
look
love
and
it.
get
I
it.
keep
One
going
second.
across the room at my husband, and then I'm also going to start the Point Horror one.
Yay! I need to
So
read that too.
yeah, so I just yeah, so I'm going to flit between that. I've also got social media stuff to do, and yeah, so I'm going to do a bit of everything. And if I suddenly disappear, it's just because I need to deal with my cats and possibly my husband, but he's old enough to deal with himself.
Same, only replace cats and husband with toddler and husband.
Toddler.
So.
Yeah, and same with dogs.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So at some point we may all just not be here and
Right,
dealing
yes,
with
I will.
the animals.
I will be back in time to speak.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll try and do the same. I start panicking and like tapping on the monitor to Kev going, how long is left? 2 minutes. Oh, quick, Nathan. Let's see what people in the comments are reading, and then I think we will go to a sprint. Ooh, I have not heard
don't
of
know either of
those.
those.
I've read Long Shadow. I enjoyed
it
it.
good?
It's that kind of like the third book in the Regency Fairy Tales series. So yeah, pretty good.
Interesting. Oh, I keep hearing about this. I mean,
That looks really good.
it does. I think
cool.
was it Reika who was talking about it, and it sounds great. I'm quite jealous. I think did I end up pre-ordering it in the end? I think I might have ordered it, so at some point a copy will arrive. Yay!
Yay!
Come on, the sprints. Talk to us about it. We can panic write together. Let's do it. We all like your bookmark, Sharon. We need to know.
It's great, isn't it? Little shop on Etsy. I'll tell you
All
something.
right.
They do all different ones, all different you know, baddies from horror films.
Oh, do you
But
reckon you could the link?
yeah,
the
I
name?
can. I'll try and find the link. I'm rubbish at stuff like that, but I'll give it. I'm very old, people, but I'll give it a go.
You know, I keep saying this, Sharon. And anyway, we said the term is vintage. I am now vintage. Not old. Okay, so we will do our usual, for those who are initiated. For those who aren't, we tend to do 40 minutes, have a chat, 40 minutes, have a chat. I get really incoherent, so then we do 30 minutes in the last one because I start spilling secrets and rambling because I'm just too tired after a day with either toddler or work. So yeah, let's try and stick to that structure tonight. Have some nice chats, some good productivity, and we will see you in 40 minutes.
Cool. See you then.
forgot his cable.
No. Okay, we're all ready now. So how did you go on? Did you have some good reading, Sharon?
Yeah, I did. I had a phone call because my dad's had a fall, so broken his arm,
Oh no!
and so he's at the hospital with my sister-in-law.
Oh, bless
And
him.
it's up in the Midlands, so it's not like I can run up. But they rang. It was only about 2 minutes into the sprint, and I had a phone call. I'm just waiting for them to ring me back and find out how he is. But they think he's probably fractured his arm.
Oh, bless him. Well, if you need to go, just let us know.
No, it's fine. They're 300 miles away from me. It's not like I can do anything.
No.
I just need to know he's all right. But yeah, apart from that, I started reading the whatever it's called, the Lost Hope Girls or something or other. I can't remember what it's called now. Yeah,
Girls have Lost Hope, was it, or something like that?
I see it. Yes, it's very good. Very good. It's doing all different points of view. Before they went missing, when they went missing, after they went missing, the girls as well as their parents, as well as the police. It's very, very fast paced, and yeah, I think it's going to get quite bad in a minute.
How old are the girls? Important
15.
question. Oh, okay. I think I can go with that. And they're girls too.
Yeah.
They're not like little boys, right? So
No, that's exactly. So they've just stumbled out. They were missing in the woods in the forest for 3 days, and they've just stumbled out of the forest 3 days later, naked and covered in blood.
oh gosh.
Yeah. So yeah, but they don't seem to remember what happened. So yeah, so it's very, very interesting. It's great, really fast paced. I think you'd enjoy it actually, Amy.
Well, read a bit more, and you can tell
No
me
little
about...
kids.
Yeah, I was going to say no little kids, and it doesn't sound like there's any kind of... I cope with too much introspection. If you're thinking about lots of grief and stuff, I can't manage. But if there's plenty of gore, I'm fine.
No, it's very good.
Weird,
I'm enjoying it.
A bit of feeling sad, and I'm like, no, thank you, but give me just a nice hearty murder or something, and
it's a mystery. So
fine.
it's one of those books where you started reading it, and there's all these different points of view, and all you want to know is what's happened. What's happened? It keeps you reading.
Have you heard of Yellow Jackets on Paramount?
Yes. I don't watch a lot of telly. I'm not a telly person at all. Apart from like Doctor Who and Star Trek and stuff. But I don't watch a lot of television. But it looks really good, doesn't it?
Yeah,
have you watched it?
I just watched a little bit of it last night because people keep telling me to watch it, and I didn't realize it's got like a storyline set in the 90s, so I think that's probably where it's coming from. And that sounds like it has a similar vibe. I think I was a bit tired. I probably need to watch the beginning again, but it's like something has happened to this group of girls that were like athletes, and it's something to do with the plane, and it's talking about them in the present day. Like, I think some of the girls actually are talking, so I don't assume that they've all disappeared or anything. But yeah, you get
photos look fantastic. The publicity photo looks brilliant.
Yeah, well,
it? So
it's so far a bit piecemeal, and because I don't think I was in the right frame of mind. I need to, like I said, I need to watch it again, but it seems really good. Have you watched any of it, Kirsty?
No, I haven't. My sister was talking about it the other day because she was at home alone watching it, and she was like, "That was bad idea." She said, "I'm freaking myself out."
Right. I always
but Sharon's book sounds a bit like House of Hollow as well.
Yeah,
I love House of Hollow. Yeah. Although that's much more YA, this is far more adult. But yeah, I loved House of Hollow. That was great. Really good. A beautiful cover too.
Yeah, that one really took me by surprise. I love a book. I'm like, did that just really happen? Like, it's so wild and weird. I love wild and weird because I feel like I can't predict it. Like, if there's
I think this is going to go weird in a minute. I think this is going to go weird. There's a supernatural element coming into it, a lost gold mine, and all sorts of stuff. And so I think he's gonna switch in a minute to something a bit creepy and otherworldly. But I may be completely wrong.
It sounds like it might go in that direction. Kirsty's just getting like kisses
mauled.
Oh, he's so. Is it a girl or a boy?
It's a little boy.
Hello, cutie.
I pulled him onto my lap because he had what looked like a piece of wood in his mouth, but I didn't get it in time.
Oh.
So he now has a bit of wood in his stomach. So, but now I'm getting all the kisses. All the kisses, aren't I?
My family dog used to do things like eat tights, and if you've ever owned a dog and they eat tights, it doesn't.
You have to help them.
Yeah, I got one bit.
It is a vampire dog, right? Because it's just eating the steak that it found laying around.
Got his little
I've locked my cats out because they will just be walking across the computer constantly. So it's
So how did you get on, Kirsty, with the sprint?
Yeah, good. I went back to the beginning, and I'm just adding and tweaking some bits and pieces, just doing a newspaper report at the moment. I was getting stuck on names, and I'm like, I can't move on until I put the name in. I'm like, no, don't be stupid, just put an X and you can put it in later. But no, I had to think of the names before.
I'm like that, and I think that names particularly either come to me straight away, like with the character and everything about them. Like Della, I was like, why is she called Della? I've never heard of a person called Della. That's weird. And like literally she just came with a name and like a girlfriend attached and stuff, and like I just knew everything about her. Whereas other characters, there's one in my current work in progress, and he's had like 3 different names, and they're just not right. And I think he still has them through the draft as well. So he's been called Bill, Elijah, and something else. And he couldn't be Bill because I had a Will in the last book, I realised. I was like, oh God. So yeah, I can't even remember what his current name is, but none of them are right yet. So yeah,
you'll have to make a note so you can do track changes later.
Yeah, I do. This book, I think it's so far got about 300 comments in the margin, because that's the only way I can free myself up to move on. I have to, like, I know this is a problem, so I write it in the comments and then just can move on.
Della's such a 70s name. I used to have a friend, and my mum's friend was called Della in the 70s.
Well, I think
it's a very 70s name.
I think it came from Delphine, because Delphine Lalaurie is from like the New Orleans myth, and I didn't want to call her Delphine because she's not a very nice person in the myth. So I think it might have been like a step on from that, but
yeah,
it was just a weird moment. But yeah, it's funny how the 70s name. I'm just like,
come out, you go away.
I don't know. I think we've got a few people in the comments, so let's see. Ashlyn, I think that sounds like a good idea to work on something a bit different to reinvigorate, but we need to know what it is. It's not YA. Is it some like horrible horror for Sharon or something?
Yeah, is it horror for me? Is it really horrific
for me?
Or is it little people?
Yeah, exactly. I know I was going to say it's going to go one of 2 directions. I'm not sure with Ashlyn. It could go either way, like cute and spooky or absolutely horrifying. That's no reflection on you personally.
Indeed. Anne, indeed, Anne.
Yeah, me too, Han. Please tell us more, Ashley, if you'd like. Hi.
Oh, thank you, Kay.
Thank you for joining us. Yeah, we're crossing our fingers that your dad is okay, bless him. How old is your dad, Sharon?
78. So I have to think how old I am and then add on. 79. He's 20. He was 20. Yeah, 79. Yeah.
Oh, bless him. So, yeah, my dad. I mean,
it's his own fault. He did something stupid. No, he's not. I'm not being, I'm not being that sympathetic. He was being stupid. Anyway.
Yeah.
Parents, they'll be the death of us.
Honestly, my mum was saying that, like, when the stuff that they were worrying about with her parents, because they passed away the last couple of years because they're in the 90s. Yeah, there's similar stuff that she was worrying about with them, like I was worrying about with Nathan and stuff, like having a toddler and having like an elderly relative, like it's the
same thing. I mean, and they often are both in nappies, so it's the same kind of thing, really.
This is the thing, isn't it? Like we kind of start our lives in a similar way.
Yeah.
Cheerful thought of the night.
Hi, Paula.
Hi, thank you for joining us, Paula. Paula and I joined that sprint, so I had a pretty good sprint where I did some editing and like drafted, filling in some gaps, and chat to Paula about our children, because I think we have 2 fairly similar, very lively boys. So we were just kind of commiserating and celebrating the joy that is lively little boys.
Well, my sister sent me a message.
Thank you, Stephen.
With a picture of her having been vomited on by my nephew.
Oh.
Oh dear. So yeah.
Do you know, when I was a teacher, it was like almost a full-time job trying to avoid different bodily fluids, and yeah, I did get sick very near. None of the children at school ever sicked on me, but I think 3 or 4 times I kind of sidestepped and narrowly missed. I'm going to be, you learn for that sign and then you just run.
I think all children are slightly demonic in that respect, aren't they? You're waiting for the heads to spin, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? It just gets everywhere. It gets into places you wouldn't expect.
Well, because as an adult, you go, I'm going to be sick. I think I'm going to try and find a bin or a toilet. Children just go, I'm going to be sick absolutely wherever I am.
Wherever I am, yeah.
You only do that when you're younger and you're too drunk to know the difference.
Well, yeah. I do
And
say
when you're
that
at an
about
age where you
our
don't
little
have to
boy
clear it up
sometimes.
yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, children, like tired children, are often like really drunk adults. They're like, I'm fine. I don't need to go to bed. I'm all right. You're like, no, you're not. Go to bed.
My niece was actually sick straight in my mouth once.
Oh. Nathan's not managed that, but he's managed to be sick pretty much. Like, he's got my hair. You can see how much hair I have. That's not fun to try and sort that out.
Yeah, bless them.
Yeah, they're a delight, aren't they? We love them. Hi, thank you for joining us.
Thanks
lots
for
of hugs for
that.
Sharon's dad. Gentle hugs. Ooh, Middle
Oh,
grade fantasy-ish adventure. That sounds very cute. I love
oh,
Princess
I
Bride
love
and
Princess
Jumanji.
Bride.
So
I love Jumanji and Princess
Yes,
Bride. So
love both of those.
that sounds brilliant, Ashlyn. Please.
or make it a cross between Jumanji and Princess Bride.
I mean, fantasy-ish, but in the same way Jumanji as opposed to Princess Bride. I don't know. Oh, I mean, that says it all, really. That's like children behaviour, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, he'll never grow out of that because he's a boy. And he'll find that funny for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's so hilarious. Like, how do children know? Like, Nathan went through a phase where we trump poo. Like, all you had to do was hear that word and he'd laugh for 5 minutes, like, till he gave himself hiccups. He was laughing so much. And it still hasn't really calmed down now. He still found, but not quite as funny as that, as like nearly making himself sick from laughing. But,
They never grow up, do they? They always find those silly things funny.
Yeah, we're in the same boat. Solidarity. The mums of little boys club. Right, let's go and do some more reading. I think I'm going to try. I've just got to the point where I've written like some kind of connective tissue, like in between two scenes. Right, a really fun scene, I think. It's fun in my head so far, anyway. So I'm hoping that it's going to be fun. Yes, excellent. I read one Darcy Coe's book and thought it was okay. Read one and absolutely loved it. So I hope you are absolutely loving it, Michelle. Well, which one are you reading? Because I read The Haunting of Ashburn House and thought that was great. Have you read that, Sharon?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I tried another one and I don't know whether it was me or the book. I don't remember which one it was. With a girl's name in the title? Haunting of Lee Harker, maybe? I wasn't sure about that one. I didn't finish it, and I just put it to one side. I thought I'll maybe come back to that at some point. But yeah, Haunting of Ashburn House was a really good kind of solid haunted house, ticking lots of the tropes that I like. Oh, Voices in the Snow. I think I have that. Is that the short story one?
Voices in the Snow.
Is that short story? Is that one?
I think so.
Yes. Nice choice. I hope you're enjoying it. I think that Kendara Blake does an excellent job with the Buffyverse, like with the voice of the characters and the kind of whole feel of them. Excellent. Well done, Nicole. Let's see if we can have another really good productive sprint. I tend to be more productive in the second one, so fingers crossed. I've got into it. Oh, it's a novel.
It is. It's the first in the series.
Interesting.
I've just seen that one. I haven't said, oh, that looks good. I've just put it in my wish list.
Cool.
My never-ending wish list.
I know. Oh, it's at this point. I do go through it every now and again and think, sorry, if only I could just buy all of the books and sit and read them. Let's go. We'll do another 40 minutes and then let's catch up on the
I'm going to go and ring my sister, but I'll be back.
See you later.
Hi everyone. That one totally took me by surprise. I was in the middle of something, like in the zone, and just like ripped me out of it.
Yeah, I'm mid-sentence as well.
I just managed to finish it. Oh no, mid-sentence. Under is the last thing I wrote. So let's hope I remember what the is when I come back to it. How about you, Kirsty? How did it go?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, still building in some more connection with my other character, because I had killed them off quite early on before, but now I've got to bring them back.
Oh.
But yeah, no, it's working out all right, so it's good.
Good. I've been there, or like thought I was going to kill a character off and kind of stopped writing them and stuff, and then realised that I still do need them, so having to like write them back in. Yeah, that's the joy.
I guess with supernatural stuff, you can always just bring them back to life, even if you had killed them. So
exactly. Oh yeah, then don't always necessarily stay dead when I write stuff. How about you, Sharon? Did you have a good reading session? Did you stay with the same book?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, actually, because it's really, really good. So it's kind of like, it's this little small town, and it's all like, religious, and yeah, there's kind of a bit of a cultish aspect to it. Yeah, it's really very, very good. And they think the kids have, they don't believe that the girl's missing. They think that, they've gone off and done something stupid, and they don't want to talk about it. So it's all kind of a bit mysterious at the moment. It's very, very good. But yeah, it's making me smile, especially the the very religious people in it. That's
Is it
making
really
me smile.
creepy?
It's more of a mystery rather than creepy, I think. I don't think it's one of the girls says she thinks she's seen a monster, but you're not absolutely sure. So it's like yeah, it's a bit of a mystery horror.
I like that.
Nothing gruesome yet, but yeah, it's quite compelling. If you want to know what's happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm enjoying it. The writing's really easy to read as well. Very short chapters, so it's snappy. So you can whiz through it. I'm about 50% through, I think.
All right. Is it set in America?
Oh yeah. All these things are set in America, aren't
I was going
they?
to say,
Americans are weird. It's a very big country with a lot of wacky people. Do you know what I mean? I think that yeah, you only hear about the really wacky stuff, not the normal people, which is majority of them. But yeah, it's very, very good.
We've done quite a lot of driving in America, and it is very interesting. You kind of drive through the cities that you'd recognize, like the Dallas or something, and you're like, yeah, look, all the skyscrapers, nice restaurants and stuff. And some of the communities you drive through, like there's definitely horror movie vibes. We went to I can't remember what it's called, where the Blair Witch Project, like the beginning of it was filmed. Burkittsville, Kev tells me. And I don't know whether it's because the film was filmed there, but I was just like, oh, there's a proper atmosphere.
There's lots of those little towns in America, and you walk in and they look at you like you've got 24 heads. It's very, very insular, almost kind of, it's almost cultic. It is in a way. It's kind of like very cliquey, and everybody knows everybody, and and the young people either conform or they run away. But yeah, people always hear the crazy stuff about America, which is true, obviously. I spent a lot of time in the States, but but actually the majority of Americans are just normal people. So you only hear about the weirdos because that's the one that makes all the headlines, right? But it's a massive, I think people think of it as a country, but actually it's like 50 countries.
Yeah,
Everyone's so different. So yeah, but it is some of the places are really creepy. And you drive through them and you think you wouldn't go hiking here. Not unless you wanted to die. You just wouldn't do it. Yeah, it is it's a vast country, beautiful, but vast.
We've had some interesting places in the UK though. Like we went to Scotland trying to find all these outlander filming locations, and some of them were really remote. And I really wanted to see where the stone circle is, where she disappears. And I was determined I was going to find this, and we kept stopping in like little cafes and stuff to ask for directions. And some of the people, I couldn't understand the accents for one thing, because the Scottish accent can be quite thick. And yeah, some of the people looked at us like, outsider, like, what are you doing here? I was like,
You get that in. I mean, I live in Devon, do you know. I mean, I'm from the Midlands, obviously, but I live in Devon. But it's the same here, and Cornwall too. You can go into a little village and you walk into the pub, and everybody looks at you like you're you know you're an alien almost. There's a lot of places like that all over the world, isn't there? Ireland's the same. Ireland's beautiful too.
Yeah.
And you get lots of little villages, although the Irish tend to be more friendly. As long as you buy them a Guinness, they tend to be quite friendly generally, I've found.
Yeah, where I live is sort of, because it's now a city, it used to be a town, it kind of, nobody really knows anyone. Like you recognise your odd person and stuff, but it isn't like the kind of community where everybody like has parties together on Friday night and stuff. Which I think in some ways is a shame, but in others I quite like my own little space. Oh yes, I mean, I'm the same, Ashlyn. If it doesn't feel right, I kind of keep cycling through until I sit on one. And sometimes I like one, and then I, like with the Bill thing, Bill fit for that character, and then I realised it was somebody else's, so it like ruined everything. Hi, Libby. Oh, I'm sorry about the slump. I feel a little bit that way the past couple of months, because I don't know whether you two ever feel this, but when I can't dedicate time properly to reading, and I feel like I'm just fitting it in between other stuff, like, although I'm reading brilliant books, I'm not getting into them because it's like, oh, I read 2 pages here and half a page there, lose the book for 3 days because I'm just doing other things.
I get angsty if I don't read. And
I had a really good reading month.
Yeah.
Oh,
so I had a really good reading month in April, and now I'm a bit like, I don't know if I want to read. I do, but I have been putting it off.
I don't do anything. I don't. I mean, it's different for you, Emmy. You've got a little kid. Do you know what I mean? So that you're pulled away constantly on you. But see, I work at home, so I'll read before I start work, and then I work, and then I'll read all night. Don't watch television. It's my main hobby really when I'm not making stuff, because of craft as well. But so it's I never have a slump. The only time I ever have a slump is if I read a really good book, and then I have to sit with it for a minute before I start something else, because I don't want to let it go. But I usually read 4 or 5 at the same time. I'm reading 5 now at the same time. I like to flit.
Yeah, I do as well. And maybe that's my problem, because I'm not reading loads at the minute. I'm flitting, and also like sometimes a week or two's passing and I'm not going back to like the first book in the sequence. So
it's difficult when you've got a busy life. It's really hard when you've got a busy life. And there's been periods of my life when I've been
writing
like that.
it's hard to fit reading in and wrong writing, because I've just got to choose between them generally. And at the minute I've got to choose writing because I am enjoying it, but also I just need to get stuff done, get these books written. Excellent. Well done, Paula. Hi, everybody.
Oh, I love it. Everybody's so friendly, aren't they?
Yeah,
I love it. It's like a little community. It's lovely.
And now, honestly, on a Thursday, like, I'm often really tired by the end of the week, and I just really look forward to sitting down and chatting on screen with some people and seeing what everybody's doing in the comments. It's really nice.
I don't work on Friday, so Thursday night is like, that's more relaxing to go into my 3 days off.
Yeah.
So I just love it.
Oh, it's good timing for you. I don't know why I picked a Thursday, really. I sort of tried different nights, and Thursday somehow stuck. Nice, Nicole. I think you're about a quarter of the way through the book by my reckoning.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry about that. I've heard with Darcy Coates, like Erin Megan is horror tuber, booktuber, who absolutely loves Darcy Coates, and I think she loves most of the books, but quite a few people I've heard kind of are a bit hit and miss with her, like absolutely love some, and same as me, I've read like 1.5, and I absolutely loved one, and the other one I was like, oh, not sure.
It's terrible when you've built yourself up and you think it's going to be good, though. If you've read a really good book by an author, and then you pick another one up and it's just disappointing, and it's just like, was the other one as good as I thought? You do doubt yourself a little bit,
I think with Darcy Coates, for me, I can tell it's the subject matter she chooses, because the Lee Harker one just didn't, the premise and the whole like setup didn't grab me as much, whereas the other one immediately did. And I think the problem with it was that the character spent a lot of time on her own, and I sometimes find that in a world, unless I'm really, really into it, I need a bit of dialogue and interaction and stuff, and there was some, but for me it just didn't, at that moment it didn't quite sit right.
It gets too wordy, doesn't it? And so you've got to be in the mood for that kind of writing.
Yeah, and I think it is that personal preference thing, isn't it? I think she's a really great author, but I think that there's always going to be ones that you'll, be drawn to more than others. What is the name of the one?
Oh my God, I can't keep it in my head. I can't keep it in my head. I'm gonna have to.
I've forgotten it again. The girl.
And the trouble is, I'm on a Kindle. This is the problem. So I've got to go right back to the beginning. Hang on a second. Girls of Little Hope. It's called. It's an arc from NetGalley's Titan. It's due out. I think it's in June. But yeah, it's pretty good.
I like Titan books. The last
yeah, so do I.
I've read have been good. Like, is Josh's published by Titan? Burn the Negative, I think. That was really good.
They do good horror, Titan. So yeah. I mean, that's why I love YA. I didn't read YA for years because I thought I was too old for it. Silly, really, isn't it? I just assumed it was for young adults, and I'm not. I'm an old adult. That's why I love young adults. They're easy to read because they tend to have lots of dialogue in them, so you get through them really quick. So they tend to give you kind of an immediate kind of gratification because of that.
Yeah, they do. And I don't think they have that kind of ponderous quality that some adult books do. It's like they've been whittled down to the bone. Like everything's really kind of pacey, and all the emotions are just like everything's just there, isn't it, for the taking?
Because that's how teenagers are, right? We all remember being teenagers. Everything's like the end of the world now. So, and they read that way, I find. So
that's why I love stuff like Buffy, like the metaphor of like high school is hell. It's like
it's
mission statement for it. And like some of the boys you meet are like demons, and some of the boys you meet start nice and turn evil. And that I think that's why I love a lot of YA, especially like supernatural YA. I think it allows teenagers and adults to explore like really human emotions as well, even though you're dealing with vampires and stuff.
I think you read I just read Bite Risk as an arc.
Yes, yeah.
And I absolutely love that. That's
so
like
good.
a new take on the werewolf kind of thing, and such a good twist. And but absolutely sped through that. It took me 2 hours to read it. It was just so easy to read.
Yeah,
it was just like whoosh, 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 whoosh.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I think that it goes in really interesting directions and just feels fresh. Like you think sometimes kids' books can feel predictable if they're written, like I remember Louise Stowell I saw interviewed, and she said that you've got to remember that you're introducing children sometimes to a trope for the first time. So even if it feels tired, you've got to introduce it in a way that they can access it, because they're not like a seasoned horror reader. This might be the first horror book they've read, but I thought Sophie did that really well, like grounding us in. If you're not a big reader or a big horror reader, you'll be able to get it. But also for people who are big horror readers, there's like lots to sink your teeth into.
It was just so well done. And not something I only picked it up because I think I heard you talk about it. And I saw it and I thought, oh, I'll get that. Absolutely brilliant. Really good.
There's a lot of middle grade horror seems to be having a bit of a moment. Gabriel Dillon, who wrote a brilliant YA book called Whiteout, a vampire ski resort book where a load of teenagers like cut off by this snowstorm, and the teachers are all murdered by these vampires, and then they kind of have to fight for their lives. He did a really good job with that as a YA, and then his middle grade debut is coming out later this year. Shiver Point, I think it's called.
You don't think of vampires in the snow, do you?
No.
Isn't that a weird idea? You don't think of them that. I always think of them in heat. I never think of them cold, and yet they're cold-blooded. So weird that.
Yeah, it was very good, and they were sort of really scary vampires, like with not as human in aspect. I think we had a few days there, and I've spent a lot of time talking to people from New Orleans. I managed to find a detective who'd served in Louisiana in the 90s. That was perfect because I just read about police procedure. Oh yeah, he did say that he could be a vampire because he worked night shifts. That just reminded me. I was like, okay, that's not all scary. I'm going to stop you.
Is he in your book? Is he should be in your book, really?
He actually isn't, no. But and I did put him in the dedication, so I probably can't use him as a character. I sent him a copy of it. I don't think I can borrow him now as a character. And my friend Hannah also did like ride-alongs with the police in the Deep South. So I asked her about like what teenagers were allowed to see and stuff like that, because she did it, and it turns out a lot. Like I held back on some of the actual stuff that she'd been allowed to do. And I've watched lots of videos. I use Google Maps a lot, so it's quite tricky because what year were we there? Like more than 10 years ago now? 2012. Yeah, 2012 we were there. So I'm having to really go back in my memory and use.
It's probably the 90s when I was there.
Oh, really? That's cool. I'll have to try and grill you about it. Although it's hard to remember, isn't it? Like
Ireland, yes, I love Ireland. Ashton. Beautiful place.
Yes, it's awesome. I need to go back. Actually, I've only been once.
Yeah,
local people.
It's true.
That's great. I think I've read half a book this month. I've probably read actually 4 half books, no actual completed books as of yet. Oh,
prime reading time.
It is. It's nice to see familiar faces and then new faces every time too. That's little smileys from everybody. Agreed. Group hug.
Group hug. Oh, group hug.
Okay,
too much romance.
I don't mind romance. You will know I write it into
I don't
books.
like romance. I'm with Michelle on that. I'm sorry. No, unless somebody's kissing someone so that they can stab them at the same time, I'm not interested.
Well, I don't know. I think that romance and horror, if they're done well, both of the two, I think they can go together really well because the heightened emotions of the horror. See, Kirsty's with me. Like, kissing is the most fun when you think maybe you're going to die and this might be your last ever kiss. And
it depends who you're kissing, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, if it's kind of a sexy vampire or vampire wannabe or whatever, or somebody who might be evil, maybe it would be more fun. I don't know. Yes, you will love it, Ashlyn, particularly if you're writing middle grade stuff at the minute. Although it's horror, it's very, very well done middle grade. Oh, sorry, my comments are jumping all over. Yeah, I mean, I totally get that. I think life takes over. And that's where audiobooks are really helpful.
Doesn't matter. 1 book, 20 books, doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's really cool. I haven't written a book yet that's actually set where I live. I keep saying them in places I've visited, but not actually where I live is known for horse racing and the train station. So
are you in Wincanton?
No, Doncaster. Like whenever I say to people I'm from Doncaster, they're like, "Oh yeah, where I've got off the train there before," or "Yeah, I've been to the races."
I've been to the racing. I used to be a bookie, one of my jobs. So yeah, I've been to the racing there. Wow. It's good racing.
That's all people know. So I don't think, although we have some really cool road names. There's a road called, I think, Hangman's Close. That's something about Hangman that I drive past almost every day. And I'm like, why is it called that? There's a few. Warning Tongue Lane, as in tongue. Like, why a warning tongue?
Doncaster classed as is it classed as Yorkshire, Amy?
Yeah, South Yorkshire,
yeah. So I mean, there's some really quite creepy places in Yorkshire.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that there's like nods to Yorkshire in the Mina books because she's from North Yorkshire. But yeah, I do think I need to explore some of my local stuff a little bit more. Yes, we do, Han. I like that. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
And like you said, if it's kind of drawing on your local passion, I think that newly renewed.
Mine's set local to me. So
nice.
Which might limit the saleability, but I think we need more books set in England.
We do.
I think so too. Yeah.
It's a tricky one. I've heard that about publishers. I had a friend who set a book in quite a specific location and was told that US sales and stuff were kind of impacted by that. But then you get people like Holly Jackson who wrote one of the most successful YA books, and hers was set in kind of a generic fake British village, and it was turned to they changed it to an American town, I think, to set it in America. Like, so if they want it enough, I think they'll find a way.
They'll just make you change it.
Possibly, or let it be British and British and giving people an insight into what it's like here. I think that would be cool. That's cool. Yeah,
I think the Americans would love a book about a little English village that's weird. I think Americans would love that.
Yeah,
so I don't know why they changed it. That's silly, isn't it?
I'd like to think so. These people who've got places in common.
Is anybody in Devon?
We'll let Han and Libby can have that conversation, and we will go to the last sprint because I've just spot what time it is, and I'm getting towards incoherent time. You two, we don't want that. Got to be able to keep this conversation going. Okay, so let's do 30 minutes and I'm going to see if I can do a bit more writing. I'm not sure if it's going to happen. I'm going to do a little bit, but I can feel my attention wavering. So I might just also watch the Yellow Jacket. So yeah, we'll see you in half an hour.
Yeah, see you then.
Hello. As usual, not prepared. Let me get everything sorted.
Hello.
Yeah, I had a bit of a chaotic half an hour. Nipped up to see Nathan at one point because he woke up very briefly and then went back to sleep. Did a bit more writing, realised that wasn't working, so I sent an email instead because I was getting a bit tired. Which needed doing anyway, so that's good that I did that today and didn't put it off till tomorrow. So yeah, a bit of a bitty one. But how about you, Kirsty? Did you manage to write any more?
I did, yeah. I'm up to chapter 8. I've got a little bit left of this chapter to go through, tweaking. So I'll probably finish that tonight and then leave it there.
Brilliant. So what's the next plan? Is it a case of going through the whole book that you've written so far?
Yeah. So I've got up to, where am I? Chapter 26. So yeah. So then when I get there, then I can carry on drafting.
Yeah, I'm doing similar. I think I've got about 30 odd chapters. The last few are kind of in a really messed up order though. Yeah, so I think I've probably got about maybe 10 chapters left to write. But I just need to sort out what I'm doing. Yeah, that sounds good. Sounds like you're on the right track with that, Kirsty. We need to keep supporting each other with this, getting to the last step of it. I think now we can get these vampire books written ASAP. How about you, Sharon? Have you nearly finished your book?
No, I had a chaotic half an hour as well. So my dad's finally got to hospital. He's broken his arm. And then the cat started screaming, so I had to dash out and find out what that was about. But anyway, I did manage to read a bit more. It's still very good. But I'm very tired now as well. I've been at work since 7 this morning, so I'm starting to feel a bit.
Definitely getting up to bedtime. Let's go through the comments and then we can say goodnight. Okay. Yeah.
Teesside.
I know that feeling, trying to explain where you're from. So well done, Paula.
Yeah, well done.
Excellent. Thank you for coming
Yes, that's very good.
Hope we haven't missed you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it's pretty special. Some of the moments in that book are just like excellent. I don't know whether you've all read Bloody Fool for Love by William Ritter, but you need to read that as well.
Not yet, but I do own it.
It's really fun. It's like just a complete one-off throwaway. There's a couple of things from Buffy that it ties in really nicely with, but it is also just its own thing that's really good fun.
Oh, I love that book. I love that book. It's my favourite Stephen King book.
Seriously, I haven't read it. Have I not read it?
No, I haven't either.
It is. I mean, the old school ones, like Carrie, Salem's Lot, Pet Sematary, of course. I read those when I was 7, 8 years old, and they're proper old school horror. But I think that's the best book he ever wrote.
Seriously,
is that the one that so complex and so clever? Was it made into a TV
show with James Franco in, and it's got like time jumping in it? Is it that?
So basically, he jumps back to the time that date is when John F. Kennedy was shot.
Yeah.
And he comes jumping back. He can go back and forward in time. It's just brilliant. It's such a brilliant book. Yeah.
I will have to add that to my never-ending.
It's a hell of a book. I mean, it's like
a chunk. Yeah. Most
of he does tend to go on a bit, Stephen King.
He does.
But you get your money's worth.
Yeah, the series was good actually. I think it was like a mini series of a few episodes. I enjoyed it, and I did think at the time I need to read this book. And
it's such a clever idea, the idea if you could go back and change a point in history, would you? And what effect would that have on the future?
Yeah. Have you read, is it The Dead Zone? The other one.
I love The Dead Zone's brilliant too, and that's a great film too, actually. Yeah, great book.
That is, does he have a premonition in that one that he then goes and tries to change? Yeah, it's a similar idea, isn't it? Of what ripples will you have?
And I think that one, the 11/22/63, was the first book really that came out that kind of genre where you could skip between times. It was so different to anything else at the time. It's used quite a lot now. But absolutely brilliant book. I hope you enjoy it.
Fingers crossed. Let's go down to the last couple of comments. Yes, awesome.
Excellent.
I can hear a little person upstairs who doesn't sound very happy, so I'm going to sign off there, I think, and Daddy's not apparently enough. So thank you two for joining me. I'm going to sign straight off and go and sort little boy out. Hopefully I'll catch with you both soon and see everybody in the comments soon.
Take care. Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.